Corley Moore, spending a few minutes here at the beginning to talk about the Vigilantes. If you know me, you know I love this group. And if you are not already a vigilante, you need to ask yourself why you are not. There are so many great things about being a member. You get the first look at the behind the scenes of the scrap. You get to have input on the future direction of the scrap. There are the vigilante meetups, the vigilante only swag shop, the merch discounts, the fireaways, the VIP forums, which are like scraps, but you get to log in and be involved on the screen talking to the person. It's great, man, and all the vigilantes are invited. You get the files, you get the posts, you get the questions and the polls, but the best part, besides all of that stuff, the best part is that you get to belong to a community of like-minded souls. And when you have that, when you belong to a community of like-minded souls like that, man, it is powerful. Especially in this calling, especially in this profession. When you have that, you are never alone. So go to patreon.com/thevigilantes and join today. It's $5 a month. $5 a month. I used to say it's the price of a cup of coffee, but that's not even true anymore because you can't hardly get a cup of coffee for $5 a month. It's the best value in the fire service. So go to patreon.com/thevigilantes and go sign up today. Become a member of the Cool Kids Club. Come hang out. I look forward to seeing you there.
Introducing the Affordable Bailout Prop, another innovative training solution by Affordable Drill Towers. The Affordable Bailout Prop is a durable and affordable training tool that allows firefighters to enhance their skills with real-world training in your parking lot or on your apparatus floor. Most fire departments only require annual PSS qualification, which isn't enough to develop muscle memory. When seconds count, you must be able to deploy your PSS and quickly escape by seating your hook in the sill or using a remote anchor point. With an overall height under 12 feet, a 5x7 footprint, and 12-inch heavy-duty swivel casters with double locks, the Affordable Bailout Prop can be easily moved between your parking lot and apparatus floor. Constructed of pressure-treated 4x4s, the window frame dimensions mimic the Denver drill window prop with a sill height of almost 8 feet, featuring a pressure-treated 2x12 sill. The rappel wall is made of 8 2x10s screwed into batten boards. All parts, including the windowsill and rappel wall, are designed to be easily replaceable if they become worn. A vertical ladder provides access to the deck, which is approximately 4 foot above ground level. In addition to window and ladder bailout drills, you can also train on removing victims through the window, whether handing the victim to another firefighter on the ladder or using the ladder as a high point. Don't stop with rescue drills. Consider advancing a hose line through the window and learn methods to overcome the challenges. Or hone the mechanics of VES, Vent Enter Search. The uses are endless and up to your imagination, creating an enormous value. With its inspiration coming from the events of FDNY's Black Sunday, Affordable Drill Towers donates 10% of all proceeds from the Affordable Bailout Prop to the Lieutenant Joseph P. DiBernardo Memorial Foundation. The Affordable Bailout Prop is available as a kit that you assemble, or fully assembled, where we train you how to assemble in the future. Elevate your training regimen with the Affordable Bailout Prop, setting a new standard in fire department training excellence. Reach us at 84455 Towers or info@affordabledrilltowers.com.
Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is weekly scrap number 259. Can't believe I'm saying it. My guest tonight, Arthur Ashley. He's been a firefighter since 1986 with a total of 38 years in the fire service. Just recently retired with the city of Lexington, Kentucky after 30 years Arthur is a hot instructor as well as a classroom instructor at FDIC. He is an author with fire engineering, many articles, many publications. He co-authored a book coming out in the next few months titled The Non-Traditional Truck Company. Excited for that to be released. He travels the country teaching all things truck, rescue, RIT, hazmat, not to mention leadership, crew management, you name it, he speaks on it. Captain Ashley is a co-creator and administrator of Truckee Talk, which you can find on social media. He has a new company called Street Smart Tactics LLC, as well as Truckee Talk Training. Like I said, you name it, the man has done it. It is my absolute pleasure to have him on as the scrap for episode number 259. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm excited for the topics. Is there anything I missed in the intro? Anything you would like to add?
Oh, no, you didn't miss anything. If you missed anything, it probably wasn't worth saying. I appreciate it.
I like it. Audience, get your questions primed and ready for Arthur. Sam is in the chat. He's looking for your questions. Kyle is checked in. Mr. Ramaga Smoothbore Cartel is in the chat. He is pulling your questions. We're going to have some fun tonight. So let's get to it. Let's get through those beautiful sponsors. The OG sponsor of the scrap, Keyhose. Check them out online at keyhose.com and follow them on Facebook. Affordable Drill Towers, on a mission to bring you cost-effective and versatile training props, like the affordable bailout prop, which allows you to practice window bailouts, ladder bailouts, and ladder high point rescues. They also make the affordable standpipe prop, which you can roll into the classroom for standpipe theory and then roll it into the parking lot and pump realistic flows and pressures from one of the best. They have built over 60 drill towers. The affordable drill tower comes in several configurations, comes standard with the standpipe system. Choose from 1 or 2 sets of stairs, integrate it into your existing Connex boxes for multi-story access or freestanding on a slab. All models NFPA 1402 compliant and gain you ISO credit. The only thing that you can't do on an affordable drill tower is live fire training. Call Steve at 844-55-TOWER or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. Firefighter safety and accountability starts with being able to quickly find and identify individual firefighters operating on the fire ground. Identifier safety combines the best in photoluminescent materials for durable firefighter identification solutions that can glow for up to 20 hours. No switches, no batteries, which means being able to rapidly identify firefighters by name, unit, or assignment, even under hot fire conditions. All specifically designed and tested for the rigors of the job. Be seen, on scene. Identifiersafety.com. And there we go. Housekeeping out of the way. Introductions out of the way. We're ready to scrap. I'm going to read you a few comments coming in from the YouTube chats. From Greg White. Beat me in here at dinner with the wife. Going to be checking in. Evening, men. We are tuned in at the firehouse tonight. That comes from Alan. Sam Bray says, one of the most humble and knowledgeable instructors I've had the opportunity to listen to. So you're already getting some good compliments coming at you.
Thank you.
What up? LFG, let's go, baby. Let's go. Checking in on shift from the EMS supervisor car tonight. That's from Robert Lyle. It's going to be a good one tonight from Jason Bangma. Good evening, and away we go. So yeah, there's quite a bit of hype. You kind of get the idea. A lot of LFGs, a lot of checking in on duty, and even checking in from the future and the Southern Hemisphere down there in Australia. Stephen Kaiser's in the house checking in. So beautiful. Rob Fisher from Vegas checking in. There we go. Tons of hype. Former scrap. Okay, let's get to it. Let's start off. I'm throwing it right at you, Arthur. So let's kick it off. They've had enough of me yammering. Great engine work with great truck work is priceless. The engine fights the fire. The truck fights the conditions. Talk to me.
Yes, absolutely. I wish I could say that saying was mine. The engine fights the fire and the truck fights the conditions, but I can't. That comes from a guy that left this world a few years ago, Jimmy Ellis, captain of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire. Wonderful guy, wonderful human being, a captain, a friend. He said that, and it resonated with me, and it is so true that the engine does fight the fire and the truck fights the conditions. The truck fights everything else. And it is, if you don't have good truck work, your fire scene's going to go all to hell. You could have the best engine company crew there making the push, the great nozzleman, the great heel man pushing, and people, pushing to the second floor, third floor, and whatever. But if you don't have a good truck company opening it up, making it tenable, you don't have a good truck crew pulling those ceilings, getting those void spaces opening up, it's just not going to happen. You know, the engine company and the truck company, both of them being great, that's priceless. You know, and if you, I've seen so many fire scenes with bad truck work that the fire scene goes to shit, goes to pot with just bad truck work. And a lot of times that fire will spit that engine company right back out in the middle of the street because the truck work's not there. The roof's not opened up. It's not ventilated, you know, and there's a lot of departments around the United States that don't go to the roof, and they don't, you know, it's either they don't understand it or they're afraid to go to the roof, or it's just easy over the decades just to say, no, don't go to the roof. And they got crews that want to go to the roof. And
Right.
the people that are hurting from it are the victims, number one, because we're not getting the heat off those people on the floor. We're not getting the smoke off those people on the floor. We're not getting all that shit off the engine company trying to make the push, and we're not getting it a visible atmosphere for the people trying to make the search. So, of course, ventilation is extremely important. So, you know, you got to have a good truck crew for that. Got to have a good truck crew for a good search. You know, we can't do a really good search. An engine crew cannot do a good search. They can't. You can't do a good search on a hose line. You search as you go because it's what we do, but you can't search a full house on a hose line. It's just not going to happen. So everything falls back to search. I mean, to the truck crew doing a good job. Three things happen on every single fire scene. Three things happen, always happen: extinguishment, search, and ventilation. They always happen. And in some places that I know of, I won't mention of them, search doesn't happen sometimes, and search doesn't happen till after the fire. And in some places that I don't know of, but I do know that search doesn't happen because we don't do search. So two things happen: extinguishment and ventilation. Ventilation is going to happen some way. The roof's going to open up or a window's going to get broken. Extinguishment's going to happen because we'll either put a nozzle through the window, or we will make an attack, or it'll eventually go out. So those three things will always happen. So we'll go back to what we were saying about the engine and the truck being priceless. You got to have both of them. The engine, they got to put the fire out, but you got to have the truck company. And if you're an engine-based fire department, you don't have truck companies, you're still doing truck work. And if you don't know you're doing truck work, you're still doing truck work. You're either good at it or you're not. You're either going to be successful or you're not. Either you're going to show up and go to work as an engine company or a truck company, or you're not. You're either going to be good at it or you're not, and you're going to watch your department create a foundation.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What an opening. What an opening. Audience, get your questions in, especially the truck questions, especially, well, you heard I think you can throw anything at Arthur and he'll take a swing at it. So keep it coming. What do you, because you worked on a dedicated truck companies for a lot of your career. You worked both. I know,
Yes.
but you are passionate about truck work.
I am passionate about truck work. And you know, I worked on the busiest engine for about 7+ years in the city. And I worked on a volunteer department, which was engine based, but you know, a lot of truck work. It's both. But my passion is with truck work for the simple fact is that I like the challenge of, now I'm not taking anything away from the engine company, because that's a lot of hard work from the nozzle to the heel, because everybody wants to be on the nozzle, but I truly enjoyed being the heel guy of making the push and making sure that guy on the nozzle was able to move and running back and getting that hose and pushing that S through the hallway and coming around those corners and getting up those steps and all this and that, because it's a hustle, 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 hustle. You're truly tired and you're truly making it happen. You're kind of the unsung hero that nobody sees. And when you come out, everybody's high-fiving the nozzleman, but the guy behind him is the one who's doing all the work. So the truck guy, when he comes off, you've got 1 to 9 things you got to figure out what you got to put them in a system of priority. You know, search and rescue, of course, is the first one, and then you got to think about ventilation, and all these things come into play. It's always been a challenge for me, and I love a challenge and things coming at me at 100 miles an hour. And I love having a crew that's dialed in, that when they come off the truck. On my truck, you have a seating assignment, and that's the way it should be nationwide. You can argue with me all you want. You're going to lose that argument, because you should have seating assignments. You should have tools you're coming off. You should have a seating assignment all the way down to doing a code 500 or a code blue or whatever you call it somewhere, to a person doing bag valve masks, to putting pads on somebody, to doing chest compressions, all the way to the person who's going to the roof with the ventilation, who's doing the sounding of the roof, who your sawyer is, who's bringing the this and that, blah, blah, blah. Outside team, inside team. If you don't do this stuff, you're setting yourself up for failure. But when your team is dialed in, it makes my job easy. And the best part about that is that I'm not the person who makes that truck. They are. I have to remember, they can make me look good or make me look bad. I'm not the one that makes that truck. That crew makes that truck. It's not the officer that's got one bugle or two bugles. It's that crew from the chauffeur to the guys on the back step that makes that truck. Either they can make you or break you. I owe it all to them for all the stuff that we were ever successful with in my job. It was the guys who were around me, and it was the chiefs and the majors and the district chiefs and stuff that came to me and said, good job. It wasn't me. I may have made some good calls. I may have made a few things or this or that, but it was the guys who were behind me that made it happen, bar none.
Right on, man. I have to write down my timestamps as we go. I love it. And there are questions rolling in, throwing in. But here's what I love. I love the fact you talked about seat assignments, because I'm a huge fan of seat assignments, and especially because I work in suburbia. And we don't have dedicated truck companies. Our assignments come down to who shows up when, and if you happen to be on the Quint, because we don't have true trucks. If you happen to be on the Quint, you could be doing engine operations. If you're on an engine, you could be doing truck operations. What's your message to the jack of all trades that exist out there in suburbias across the world?
Well, the first thing I'll tell you, if you're on a Quint, I will tell you something that you will never go wrong if you listen to me. Just listen to me. If you're the chauffeur of the Quint, you're either going to be going in as an engine or a truck. You don't know what you're going in as. You're either going in as you're going to be pulling a line, or you're going to be going to work as a truck. Always go in with the mindset of being a truck. The reason for that is this: you get that aerial device where it needs to go before you pull the lines off the truck. And the reason for that is because once you do that, you'll be set up where the ladder needs to be, or where it needs to be later in the future. Because once the little lines come off the truck and the big lines come into the truck, you're there.
Yeah.
You're screwed. So go in with the mindset of being a truck chauffeur and get that ladder where it needs to be, because we can stretch more hose. We can't stretch more ladder. Put that truck where it needs to be first for that ladder. You'll never go wrong. I've had people ask me that, and that's the way to look at it. If you go in with that mindset, you'll be perfect. The other thing is to go in with a Quint concept. You're either engine or a truck. If you're first due, and I'm a truck guy, if there's fire to be fought, pull the line and go to work with your booster tank with fast water. Have somebody bring you water. If there's somebody to be saved, go save them. If you've got 4 people on the truck, split your crew. Your chauffeur / engineer should never be standing at the pump panel. When I was an engineer, I prided myself that when guys would pull a line off a truck, I would make sure that even if they were doing something, I could pull a line, pull a nozzle in the first set of couplings to the front door, run back, get it charged, or get it charged for them if they've pulled it, put it 10 pounds above once I've charged it, because once they open it, 10 pounds is taking care of what's lost there. They go to work. I'm skull dragging 5-inch hose to the closest hydrant, because I want to beat the second due engine if I can, getting it down the street. If they're coming already, I'm pulling a backup line, because that's what our department wanted. So I can pull a backup line before they even get there, because I'm proactive. That's less they have to do, because if I'm pulling it, they could probably help the first line get into operation and get the fire put out quicker. So the engineer can be proactive. I don't like people standing around. Here's another thing I hate, and even with a Quint and even with a truck. If you are assigned to a Quint / truck and you're standing next to your truck and your job is to hand tools to somebody when they come get it, or they call for something and you take it and you hand it to them, you ain't no more bit good than tits on a boar hog. And here's why: because we don't need you to do that. We need you to be in the game, to get around to the back of the structure, throw ladders. We need you to get to the back to open the door up and sweep inside to see if there's people there. We need you in the game. I don't need you to hand tools to people. We don't need you to do that, okay? So here's what we do. I'll tell you what we do. For the longest time, when I was traveling around the country, I teach a lot of short staff companies, small departments to big departments. So I decided that I was seeing that in the small departments, the short staffing, we needed to put the chauffeur into the game. So I wanted to do a little R&D. So I come back to my department and we started doing this. I wanted to put the driver into getting into the rear. And there was reasons for that. We're horrible at a 360 in the fire service, really horrible at a 360. I wanted to get the chauffeur to the rear as quick as possible. I wanted to get it opened up in the rear as quick as possible. I want to get a search. I want to get tools in the rear. So here's what we did. The driver drives in his bunker pants. He pulls up on scene. This is on a residential fire. He gets out. He puts his coat on. He puts his air pack on. He puts his gloves on. Everyone that rode for me, when you come off the truck, you had your gloves on, including me, and you go to work with your gloves on, and you put your PPE on with your gloves on because you're going to shave time. You people out there that say that you can't put it on or you've put it on for years without your gloves and stuff, it's not because you're wanting to be a cowboy. It's not because of anything like that. It's for the people inside that you're shaving time off to get to them quicker. That's what it's about. He moves to the rear of the truck, pulls a hook, a Halligan, and a 28-foot ladder. He makes it to the rear of the structure. My rule was this. There is no one on the department, not even the chief, is to stop you from making the rear of the structure because your job is too important. And I compared that to being the same as the roof man on the FDNY. No person shall deter the roof man from making the roof because his job was so important. So he would go to the driveway side, get to the rear because that's where the gate was 99% of the time. Move to the rear, throw the ladder up. Don't lay it down because you got to pick it up later. Throw the ladder up. Doesn't matter where it's at. Give me a report. Ladder 1 driver, ladder 1 alpha. I've got 2-story in the rear. I got heavy smoke showing from the Bravo Charlie corner. I got bars on the downstairs window, and I got a walkout basement. Who hears that? Every person coming into the scene. Everybody. Engine hears where it's at on the second floor. Squads coming in here, the bars on the downstairs window. We hear there's a walkout basement. Everybody hears that. He goes over, tries before he pries on the back door. It's locked. Baseball swing, splits the jam. Opens it, looks under the smoke. Oh, there's somebody there. Grab them. You don't got to put your PPE on. Just grab them. Pull them out. Okay? Pull them out. There's nobody there. Close the door. Put your stuff on real quick. Ladder 1 driver, ladder 1 alpha. I'm getting ready to start a search inside the rear door. I'll advise, leave it open. He's going to find somebody or he's not. Take that hook, slide it in. That's 6 feet long. Slide in on top of it. You're 6 feet. You're 12 feet in. Slide around. You're looking real quick. If you find somebody, pull them out. If you don't, come back out. Close the door. Advise me that you're out. Then take that ladder and either become the outside vent man. If it's already vented, put it to the roof, and that's a secondary means of egress for the vent team. That's a lot of work, but guess what? A shit ton of stuff just got done, and nobody's standing in the front yard handing out tools.
A lot of people yelling timestamp. A lot of people. They said, "My man spitting bars." That's from Steve Mouch.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
it is, man. You said it. You said be in the game, not handing out tools. I mean, you summarized it right there, man. It's beautiful.
I mean, stop standing in front. You joined the fire department to fight fire. You didn't join the fire department to hand out ice cream in the front yard.
Are you ready? Are you? I love it, bro. I just sit here and listen to you, but I got questions coming at you from the audience.
Sure.
I don't know if you want a soft toss or someone. Brandon Ledford sent a soft toss. We'll do it real quick because this is a nice soft toss. Brandon Ledford said, "Soft toss, Cap. What's your feelings about 3-piece Halligans?"
Oh my God, Brandon, you son of a bitch! 3-piece Halligans. Try to try to run over them as much as possible and break them because we don't need them in the fire service.
That's as clear as it can be. Like you said, nice and soft. That was a good one. Thank you, Brandon. I think I knew your answer before asking, but
absolutely, that's a waste of time there.
Brian LaFleur. Speaking of truck guys, how many bodies does he want to take to a commercial roof, and what does he include in a roof report? I really like this question.
What was the first part of that again?
How many bodies do you take to a commercial roof?
Commercial roof, I want to take no less than 3, and I'm probably going to upgrade that. 3 is probably going to be starting for a recon, basically. So what we take to the roof, we're going to take a rotary saw, and we're going to take a chainsaw. We're going to take an LA trash hook. and we're going to take an axe as well, and we're going to take a roof package, and has extra chain, pull rope, and bar oil and things to that nature. And once we go to the roof, we're going to go 10 feet over and 4 feet out, and we're going to make our inspection cut. So the reason we take the 2 saws is because I may have a built-up roof, and I do use the chainsaw to cut the built-up roof. It could be Q decking. I could have wood, depending on where I'm at in Kentucky, and a lot of places from the north down, I have the same building construction. So 3 starting out based on because what I've got on my truck going to the roof. So what I would like to have, I'd like to have 5. So if I'm going to a commercial roof and we're committing to making a cut, and I've got the time, and I've got, based on what I'm looking at, I've got the time, I'm looking at what we're cutting and everything. I'd like to have no less than 6 people, because that's a time consuming cut. Especially if I'm opening up more bays, depending on how much fire, how much smoke is being emanating from the building itself, how much we have to cut. Probably we could get by with 4, but I'd like to have 5. The more people, because that is a labor intensive job. Any type of ventilation on a roof is labor intensive. If I could get 2 truck companies, I would be happy as the day is long.
Love it. I absolutely love it. Rob wanted to know big box or strip mall. He wanted to know if there was if that made a difference to you, if it was a big box store or a strip mall type construction.
A big box, I'm going with probably three truck companies. Strip mall, I'm probably going to do it with 2.
There you go. Rob Fisher wanted to hear your thoughts on it, so I wanted to follow up on that. Up on that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this one coming at you. Josh Everett says, we are putting our first ladder into service and will staff it in a double company house. We are in a region with poor truck culture. Where is the best place to start? Department admin is all on board.
The best place to start is in the house of building the culture, of learning that it is not about the truck itself. It's about the tactics. It's not about that truck sitting out there with that ladder on top of it. The first part is to realize it's the confidence that you build in learning about the tools and the tactics. You learn about the tools, the strengths and the weaknesses. You learn about what the truck company does. You'll learn your strengths and weaknesses, and you'll learn about the tactics that comes along with it. And you're gonna get your feet wet. And the first part of it is you're only gonna get the tips of your toes wet, and then you're gonna get your feet wet, and then you're gonna build your foundation. Then everyone's gonna get their confidence in throwing ladders and using tools, and then they're gonna get their ventilation cuts in, and then they're gonna learn how to move on from there, from elevators to everything else, because it all comes together. You can't be just good at one thing and not good at another, and everybody's going to work together. And then there's going to be the camaraderie and pride built in that because you've learned together. And then comes the operations of using that truck, of what you can do with your aerial device, and what you can do with the aerial device and other ladders, and what you can do with the aerial device and rescue. It's a ground building thing as you build. It's a pyramid that you build. It doesn't all happen overnight, but it has to start with realizing it's not about the truck that you have sitting in the bay. It's about you, the people, learning the truck culture. And you have to build the culture, and then you have to build the swagger that comes with it, because if you want to be good at it, it's all about the moxie that comes with it. The swagger is with it as well.
No, I love it. I love it when you talk about swagger, because that is part of keeping that culture alive.
Absolutely.
And feeding itself.
It's not cocky. There's a fine line between cocky and confident. Confident is you can talk the game, but you better be able to back it up every single time.
There you go. Josh Ever said, great freaking answer. Thank you. Cannot wait to find our swagger. Yeah, absolutely, brother. I'm looking forward to you guys as you grow into it. I wanted Brian LaFleur, second half of the question. He did bring it up. He said he wanted to know, what do you include in a Kentucky commercial roof report?
A Kentucky commercial roof report. My roof report, I'm going to give, one of the things I also give is the height of my parapet wall. I'm also going to give, if there's a parapet wall that is going all the way around or it's missing in the rear, I'm going to give the type of roof I have. I'm going to give a type of open web truss or what kind of truss system we have. I'm going to give any type of dead load on the top, any firewalls I can see, any type of anything, where the skylights are, what type of skylights, or any dangers or anything like that. I'm also going to tell them if I think this is worth it or not. I'm also going to tell them pretty much that would sum everything up that I can think of right now. And any needs that I may have, or if this is a go or no go situation, because I'm going to look and see, do I have enough people? Do I have enough time? Where is the fire? Where will the fire be? Do I have the right equipment? And this may be a situation that we're not going to be able to get this done, because if I don't have the people, we're not doing it, because it's just not going to happen. We're just not going to do this just because we can, just because they want us to walk out here and try to make a cut. I'm going to say, absolutely not. We're coming back down.
Boom. Boom. There's a Kentucky roof report. Man, I really want to go back and write all. I might have to go back and listen myself and write that down, because you just like made up a tactical Tuesday how to give a roof report. I'm going to make a checklist based off what you just rattled off. Captain Von Brown is asking, Captain, can you speak on how getting outside of your own department has impacted your career?
Oh, wow. Yes, I can, Vaughn. In the beginning, when I started with Lexington, I caught all kinds of hell for going outside of my department. But before that, I was traveling all over the United States that I could afford in gas money in the early 90s to go and get training at other places. And of course, before then, there was no computer, there was no internet for us to do that. So I would have to wait for Firehouse Magazine or Fire Engineering or these flyers that would come out. And I always went to the Kentucky Fire School, which is the Kentucky State Fire School is the oldest fire school in the United States. And their motto is learn by doing. And I wanted more. And I couldn't get it there because it was only so much they could give and so much they could do. And I felt we were behind. I felt it was stagnant. And it's nothing against the state. I just wanted more. So I would go to Ohio and Indiana and Tennessee, and I would go as far as Georgia and Virginia, and I would go up to the Northeast, and I would start going to places, and I'd ride with these departments to get a little bit of experience. So Lexington gave me hell, the older guys, for going and get more experience. So I was like a duck. I let it roll off my feathers like rainwater, not bother me, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
And I got more experience just by my training. But the best part about it was I was always on a busy company, which we got a lot of fire in the 90s, and I was always on busy companies. Now, I will tell you this, just like I told guys when I walked out of that firehouse for the last time when I retired, and the guys that worked for me for years can tell you, you have to go outside your department to make yourself better. And when you go outside your department, bring it back and share it. Bring it back and share it. I did that. And I'd come back and would try to share it, but I would catch all kinds of hell. But I didn't care. I did not care. And I can tell you one thing right now. There was a guy on our department. His name was Captain Mike Barnes, and he was one of my mentors. And I watched him from afar, and he caught so much hell. He was one of the best truck captains that I ever knew. And I learned so much from him, from leadership to everything. And he, because of him, I did a lot of things. And this man caught so much hell. He was 20 years ahead of his time on the Lexington Fire Department. And they kept this man down. And I wish his career would have been better. And I wish I could have took him with me and did things. And I hate that for him, but that inspired me to go beyond the borders of Lexington Fire Department and bring back everything I knew. But I will tell you this, I shared it with other people. And if they didn't want to share it, if they didn't want to take in what I was trying to dish out to them, it just made me a better fireman on the fire scene. People said, you're cocky, you're this and that. But I tell you what, they would give me hell in the firehouse. They give me hell when they this and there, but they fucking didn't give me a problem when I was on the fire scene. Ever. And you get the title, damn, he's a damn good fireman. I didn't learn to be a damn good fireman being in Lexington. Only I learned to be a good fireman from the experience of making fires there half the time, but I learned the rest of it learning from other people from other states, from fire schools and stuff, and riding other places. You got to go other places because there's other people who know stuff that will share it with you. You got to go.
Love it. Timestamp. Yeah, people are saying timestamp. I got it written down. 8:34. Jonathan Patton, I hope you like the questions because they're stacking up.
Yes.
Jonathan Patton said, you've talked in the past about streamlining your operation. What was your personal setup, waist up, to keep yourself clean and streamlined?
Streamlined. On my personal gear, is that what we're talking about?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Okay, streamlined. I kept my pockets very, very light. So what I kept in my pockets, I kept a pair of lineman's cutters up here and a flashlight. In my pockets, I kept what's called a boblet strap, BOBBLET. And it's what us truck guys in Lexington would carry, and it's about a 6-foot strap. And it's sold by a retired truckman in Lexington. And everywhere I go and I teach, and people see this boblet strap, they have to have one. They're like, holy shit, why have we not got one of these? Because I can do everything in the world with it. The other thing I carried was just simple tools in my right pocket. Screwdriver, a pick, a through the lock, and that was it. Because I carried a small bag, and if it was non-emergent, I had a small bag that sat at my feet. In my other pocket, I had some gloves, some other stuff, but I had a split pocket. I had an aluminum wedge, but I carried 5 wooden wedges, no more, no less. And those 5 wooden wedges worked for everything. But the real reason for those 5 wooden wedges were the front door, the vestibule door, the downstairs stairwell door, the upstairs stairwell door, and the apartment door. 5. That's why I carried 5. In my pockets, my bellows pockets, I kept those streamlined because I didn't need that stuff. I didn't want to carry a lot of stuff because I didn't feel like I needed it, because I carried stuff in a little bag, or I've got other guys carrying stuff. I carried an extra set of cutters, and that was it. That's all I carried. I was streamlined. And that was me.
Right on. No, and there's a reason for it. I love hearing the reason behind it. The boblet strap, a lot of information. Is there a place to find a boblet strap?
I can give you the information. You can get it out there. And this guy, it is a rated strap, and we use it. One of the biggest things we use it on is splicing of ladders. We get a 35 and we want to put a 16 at the end of it. We'll strap that. We can pull hose up the side of the building, tie it off. We can carry stuff. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Okay. No. Hey, you say it. I'm intrigued, and I know the audience is also. Yeah, Jonathan Patton, great question, brother. Great question. Bo Bosher. Well, I'll butcher it either way. We don't have specific tasks for seats other than up front. How are some of the typical tasks set up for each backwards guy position?
Okay. So on our truck, if you've got 4 on the truck, well, first of all, if you're 3 or less, you're short staffed. If you're 4 or more, you're fully staffed. I don't care where you're at in the United States. That's how that runs. That's my opinion. So if you're riding on my side of the truck, we're the inside team. If you're riding on behind the chauffeur, you're the outside team. That's how it works. So if you were riding behind me, you're bringing a set of irons in the can, and I'm bringing a Halligan. We're the inside team. If you're riding behind the chauffeur's doing his thing like I told you earlier, and you're coming off the truck with probably your 6-foot hook and a Halligan, and you're going to work on the outside throwing ladders and stuff. Now you break that down on other things. Let's say let's say an elevator rescue. I'm coming with a flashlight, elevator keys. I'm also coming with my helmet, gloves, and coat. I'm coming with a tool bag. The guy behind me is coming with a hook. He's coming with a tool bag. The driver's coming with a lockout tag out. He's coming with the elevator kit. He's also coming with another elevator bag. And everybody comes, you have this streamline. I had it printed off for everything because my rule was this: we don't go above the 2nd floor and leave everything at the truck. For the simple fact is, I don't believe in going back to the truck for something. So if we go above the 2nd floor to the 7th floor to the 10th floor to the 30th floor, I got 2 shoulders and 2 hands. So does my crew. We've got the sprinkler kit. We got the search rope. We got the irons. We got saws. We got all this. It's going with us even on a private alarm or anything, because we can stage it. there's no reason to run back to the street. There's no reason for me to go in this 1,000,000 square foot warehouse and run back to the truck. We can stage it wherever we're at. Take this stuff with you. So when you're making a riding chart, break it down from everything from a low rise, mid rise, high rise, to a medical run, to an extrication, to a working structure fire, to this, that, and everything. So when you do have a ride, do have an incident, everybody knows where they're going. If you're volunteer, have a riding card on the back of the seat so where they can see it. If you're paid, you have it. Guys that traveled in every morning, that someone would travel in, I would tell my driver or I would tell my senior guy, give them the list so they can go over it so they know what they're bringing off the truck every time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It takes the guesswork out of it. There is no Keystone Cop. There is no looking foolish or anything like that, because when they come off the truck, they're ready to go to work. Boom.
Boom. There you go. No better way to wrap it up either. Great question, Bo, and great answer, Arthur. Spencer Wells. Hey, Cap. How do we keep truck culture alive and staying aggressive on the department?
You keep it alive by constantly practicing and doing reps on everything. I don't care what it is. And Spencer, it was my probationary firefighter. And Spencer was a kid that he knows what I'm talking about with the reps, because he came to my truck and he learned to put his PPE on with his gloves on. And I made him do it 12 times every morning, every single morning, to the point to where he was putting it on in 7 seconds. So he would travel to other stations and they would make structure fires. And who would be the first one ready to grab a nozzle or grab a ladder or grab a tool? Spencer would be, because he learned that at our firehouse and he was ready to go. And Spencer, you already know the answer to this. It's about reps. It's about going to classes. It's about pulling the ladders off the side of the truck and throwing them every chance you get. It's about starting the saws. It's about making cuts. It's about getting everything, and just keep doing it. Looking for classes in truck work is one of the biggest things. Asking for the doors or forcible entry doors to be delivered to your station and practicing on those is another one. Asking to go to the training academy and cut on our ventilation props is another one. You're in charge of your destiny. If you're put with an officer that won't do that, shame on them. Shame on them. If they won't do it, then you have to do it for yourself. You make the phone call, and that's to anybody. If you want your training, you have to go get it. You have to ask for it. Don't expect somebody else to do it for you. If they're not doing it for you, you're not getting it on the job, go somewhere else and get it and bring it back. It's the same as going outside the department and getting training.
Boom. I'm just gonna keep saying boom all night tonight. And someone, Jonathan Patton, said Spencer Wells is a badass. So they said, yeah, he's a rock star. There you go. Andrew Johnston coming at you. He says, you mentioned working a lot with short-staffed companies. With the idea of vertical ventilation, I'll try to read, vertical ventilation being a hot topic, what is your opinion for small departments using it? I'm a believer in it for sure. However, I have seen that the effective window is often missed due to only having limited manpower for the first few minutes. We run 3 stations with a minimum staffing of 8.
Minimum staffing of 8, okay? Let's look at it like this. 3 stations. If you're close and on top of each other, which I'm going to say you're not, because if you're 3 stations and 8, you're probably spread out in a county or a city that you're not getting there right on top of each other. So you got 2 people on a nozzle, on an attack line. You got 2 people on a backup line, so that's 4. You've got 2 people probably on RIT, and you've got 2 people on command and stuff like that. So that's 8 right there. So you're going to have at least 2 on the ventilation. So what I tell people on short staffing is this, and I tell people this when they're trying to convince their department that they don't do, let's say they don't do ventilation, and we're trying to convince their department to let them do ventilation. So what I teach them is this. Now, those steep ventilations, that's an advanced ventilation cut. You're going to have to work on that. When we get to the walkable pitch, do a dice cut. A dice cut. It's the fastest cut you'll ever do. It is the absolute fastest cut you'll ever make. You're on the roof, off the roof, super fast. What does that do? That, number one, makes the chief really happy that you're on the roof and off fast. Number 2, it gets a cut really fast. It at least gets it opened up. Now, let me tell you this. The day of the 4x4 hole in a residence is over. Stop cutting 4x4 holes. do a minimum 4x8. Let's get 32 square feet opened. Get you a header cut of 8 feet, 4 feet down, all the way across. Open that up. If it's already in the attic space or it's already come through the drywall below and it's coming out, fire or heavy chugging or whatever, you've made your cut. Get off the roof. Okay, that's big enough for a 2,000 square foot house. It's big enough. If you want to make it bigger, make it bigger. Okay, how do you do a dice cut? Okay. If you would go online and Google dice cut and put my name behind it, there's a picture on there of a dice cut. Okay. It's a video. It's a video. You make your cut across the top and it's straight up. Don't ever draw your saw sideways like that. You'll cut through your trusses. If you're not experienced with using a saw and you're drawing your saw this way, you'll cut through your trusses, which really doesn't matter anyway if you cut through a couple trusses, because the way the sheathing is on top of the roof, it ain't going to collapse. It ain't going to fall in. It doesn't matter if you cut through it. You'll still be able to make your hole. They don't tell you that in IFSTA, and they don't tell you that in training. But I'm telling you right now, you cut through a couple trusses, it ain't going to hurt anything. Cut your hole and get off the roof.
No, I was going to ask you, break down a dice cut for the people listening, because for those that didn't know.
Okay, a dice cut.
Okay.
461 chainsaw, still with the RDR chain. My favorite saw and chain. You can cut anything with it with a 20-inch bar. Go up, straight down and plunge it. Push forward, find that truss. Pull back, come up, out. Make a little mark on top for you people that are non-experienced, right above it on that truss. Drop it down. You're going to go all the way across until you cross 5 trusses. Come down. Do not come off the throttle. Straight down, all the way down. Walking back to the left, straight down. About 4.5 feet down. Then come back to the bottom and just roll them. And guess what? You're going to louver them and just punch them and get off the roof. That's it.
Quick and fast. And you got videos. You can see this in action. Just type in dice cut Arthur Ashley.
Yes. And listen, if you can't find it, find me on Facebook, send me a message, and I will post a video on Facebook of me cutting the dice cut, and you can watch it.
He said he'll drive to your house and he'll cut a dice cut on your roof.
I got insurance. Come on.
No, I say to their house, the people that wanted to see it. But we'll go to Arthur's house too.
Bring it.
Great question, Andrew. Thank you. Hey, phenomenal answer on the dice cut and breaking it down. And Chris Wessels, we scrap, but Chris coming at you said, what's your go-to saw blade for peaked roof ventilation? But I think you just answered your go-to saw blade.
RDR chain, and I'm a Desert Diamond blade on a rotary saw for a steep pitch. I do a Milwaukee cut because I use a 26-pound rotary saw. I use the gravity of the saw to make the cut. We'll cut it from the ridge pole as far down as we can go. I don't like to reach out and step on tools or anything like that. I have two ladders 3 to 4 feet apart, and it's 2 guys. We never come off of them. We get it opened up, we punch it, pull it back, and get off the roof. It is not a fast cut, but it is a safe cut.
There you go. Seating assignment question. I'm coming up. Let me get back over here. We talked a lot about vertical ventilation. I want to talk about time is opportunity, and opportunity is time.
Okay. Do you want to know what that means?
I do. I have my own opinion of the quote, or not the quote, but the saying. I just want to hear you break it down for the audience.
Okay. Time is opportunity. Opportunity is time. So I came up with this because I am so serious about searching for people and rescuing them that is just, I have put myself in places before that I shouldn't have been, trying to find people that has been really dangerous. That when I get really shitty positions inside of a house, I bite the inside of my jaw that it's scarred over the years. So time is opportunity. Opportunity is time. If you don't take the time, you're going to miss your opportunity when you come off that truck. And if you don't you're going to miss your opportunity if you don't take that time that is given to you for that searchable space or that survivable space. Meaning that if you come off the rig, or if you're coming up the street and what you're seeing, and you don't look or take the time to look, and you're lollygagging around and you're not serious about wanting to rescue someone or wanting to get in, because you got to remember, the only thing separating you on a VES is a pane of glass between you and that person. A pane of glass. You have the highest form of respiratory protection. You have the highest form of thermal protection. Those people, they have nothing. You have all this protection. Go after them. Don't waste time, because you're going to lose the opportunity, because that window's going to close, and it's going to close fast. Don't lose the opportunity, because time's going to be gone. You have to understand the clock is ticking. As soon as that air brake pulls and you get out of the truck, it's against you. Start looking. Be hungry for clues. Run to the back of the house. One of the first things you can look for is the windows. Windows tell stories. Houses tell stories. Go to the back of the house. If you can see it, look for the vent pipe, the sewer pipe to the bathroom. That pipe, the bathroom is the island to the bedrooms. Off that bathroom is the island, is the bedrooms. So you can see those windows. Go to those windows, okay? Now stop and think about this. Getting into those places, you open a door and you'll crawl in, but you break a window and you got chiefs saying that's the most dangerous thing you can do going into a place. It is no different than me crawling in this window than it is crawling in that door. It is no different than me crawling in this window and crawling through this door into the hallway, because there's no difference than me doing it through the front door. So I can go from this window to this door, close it, search this room, open this door, it's clear, or there's fire down the hallway, and go to the door across the hallway and search another room. If you're afraid to do that, go do something else. I can close doors all day. I think Dave Rhodes said it. Dave Rhodes said it on a podcast. He said, I can close doors all day long and create the most survivable space for me. Absolutely, all day long. You can. Searchable space is there. Survivable space is there. And most of the time, we don't know that they're there until after the fire's over. So we have to take the opportunity that's given to us. So if you don't put your gear on quick enough, and I can't listen, I don't say anything about people when I'm watching these videos. I don't ever say anything online or make comments. The only time I make comments is when somebody attacks one of my friends they're in the wrong, or they're giving out wrong information on something that somebody's going to buy or say, or they're going to think it's right. I can't stand to see people stand around the front yard of some of these videos and there's a house on fire. You've got 10 people in the yard and nobody's making any effort whatsoever to get inside of a window, inside that house or anything. And you don't know if there's anybody in there. I don't care if the person in front said there's nobody in there. They may have forgot about the 3 kids that came over, stay all night with their kid. Yeah. Things like that. So that's time and opportunity and time. You can't let it slip away. Too many people let it slip away because they forget why we do this damn job.
Boom. There's another boom. Outstanding, man. Outstanding. Patrick Dighton coming at you. Hey, Cap, can you explain the click method when throwing extension ladders?
So the click method, well, it's kind of hard without a visual, but there's 14 inches between each click. So when I pull on the halyard and there's a click, that's 14 inches. Okay. So when you raise that ladder, so let's take a 24-foot extension ladder. So it's in its bedded position, it's 14 feet long. Okay. So I make one click. So it raises it 14 inches. And then I make the next click 14 inches. Okay. So you'll raise it. Okay. So you're going to raise it so far. So a 24-foot ladder will get to what? The one way to remember this, it'll get to the 3rd floor because 3 comes between 2 and 4. That's one way to remember it. Just like a 35-foot ladder, 4 comes between 3 and 5. So a 35 will get to the 4th floor. So the click method will get you, like say there's 10 feet between a windowsill to windowsill on a residential structure. So it's really hard for me to show you this by just verbally telling you this. So right. I'm going to try the best way I can. On a residential structure, basically all across the United States, there's 10 feet. So if you can visualize 10 feet between each windowsill. So when you get off the truck, you're going to count from windowsill 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet, from the 3rd floor. That's 20 feet and whatever it is to the ground. So let's say it's 4 feet. That's 24 feet. Well, we know that a 24-foot ladder is not going to be 24 feet. It's going to be less than that. So we're probably going to need a 28-foot ladder. Okay. So it's 14 feet in its bedded position. every clicked position, above that, it's going to go to probably 23 feet. I can't remember what it is just on that because I don't even think about that. So a 28-foot ladder is going to be 14. Every one of them's 14 inches on the click. Every one of them's 14 inches on the click because it's 14 inches between the rungs. That's what it is. It's 14 inches between the rungs. Always remember this. Whatever you raise it above the second floor, you take off one click because that's going to be the added up 2 inches. Every 2 inches from the 14 inches are going to add up to a foot. So you're going to take that off. I'm confused because if listen, if I had a picture here, I could show you, I could tell you, swear to God. I mean,
I think people are catching on, and the big takeaway is 14 inches on the click, and you can start using that when you start thinking about the distances.
Yes. So let me tell you something real quick about ladders like that. Okay. So one thing to remember about ladders is just remember the number 4. In Lexington, we used to do this. Number 4. Divide the ladder by 4. So a 24-foot ladder divided by 4 is 6. A 28-foot ladder is 7. Okay. So it goes on up from there. So a 35-foot ladder is 8.5. Okay. So just drop the ladder 6 feet away, 7 feet away, 8.5 feet away. Okay. Just drop it, raise it, drop it in. Here's where I want you to listen to me. The IFSTA manual, all the manuals, they say, put the ladder right at the windowsill. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect at the windowsill. It can be a foot below the windowsill. Do you know why? Because the person who wants rescued will still get on the ladder. Do you know what else? I can still get into that window. There's a lot of times it's even better a foot below the window. It doesn't matter. We call it fast ladders. Drop it 6 feet away, up, raise, drop in. I'm not going to do this moving it back and forth because what I move by feet on the ground only moves by inches on the wall. So we don't worry about it. Right. We just want the ladder up and go to work.
Effectiveness of movement.
Absolutely. So just think about that and just get the ladder up. I don't care about the windowsill.
Love it. Hey, there you go. How do you convince Dominic Poston? Dominic Poston. We'll go with Poston. Dominic Poston wants to know, how do you convince guys that reps matter and get them on board with training the basics?
Well, you convince them reps matter because once they start doing more reps, they'll see the change and that they will get better. Everything to create a muscle memory, everything to create a muscle memory requires reps. I don't care what it is, from doing this to this to this to this. Everything requires those reps. Now, everybody's different. I may require so many reps to get in to do a certain thing. It may require me to do 80 times to get it in, to understand it, to create the muscle memory. In order for them to see the change, they have to do the reps. You may require 20 reps. He may require 30 reps. He may require 100 reps because he's just, his brain is not getting it. He's not getting it on the muscle side of it. It's just the muscle memory and all that stuff. It's always different. So people get frustrated because this guy's getting it, he's not, because everybody's different. So you have to encourage the person. You have to build them up. The worst thing that a person can do is to break them down. That's one thing I never allowed in any of my classes, from State Fire School to in the firehouse to where I'm teaching now. I would never let anyone make fun of someone, break them down, or try to make them feel bad, to just anything negative, because that absolutely destroys the learning, any type of learning, and they're not going to want to do it. So we have to stop that. That's the biggest thing. So the best thing I can tell you is you have to build that person up, and you really have to be their cheerleader. And the other thing is try to help them any way possible. Like when I try to help somebody, it's like the other day, a guy was wanting to learn how to put the mask on with his gloves. He was having a hard time with it. I took the time, let's do this over and over. So I showed him a different way because he had really, really huge thumbs. I said, well, let's do it a different way. We did it a different way. It changed. All he had to do was just have somebody show him and be a little cheerleader for him. That's all it took. Sometimes somebody just needs a little pat on the back, a little help, a little boost or something like that. But never chastise somebody. you got to keep, sometimes people need a little cheerleader.
Love it, dude. Yeah, that's fantastic. Still got questions coming at you. We talked about seat assignments, Dominic, but it's a good question. Brian LaFleur coming at you with another one. Inside team. What communication do you have with your firefighter before crossing the threshold going in for a search? What kind of pre-com?
So basically for us, we would just basically say left and right. And so left and right, and we would do a split search. Now, a split search would also depend on where the fire was. If the attack team was having a hard time holding the fire back. Now, if the attack team was having a hard time holding the fire back, now I would pull my guy back towards me. That changed things for me because I wouldn't let them get too far away from me, because if they're having a hard time with this fire, it changes the way we're searching a little bit. I don't let them get too far away from me. So I would go right and they would go left. Now, if it was more of a room and contents fire, light smoke or something like that, I would let them be a little bit more free. I would never let them go to a floor above me, away from me like that, because we still try to keep the voice, vision, or touch. Radio didn't count. We would still try to keep it to where we do the victim, where it'd still be muffled. He could be 2 rooms away from me and I can hear that. We hear that 333 like that. We know it's a victim. And I can move toward him and he says it again. I say something, or I get his attention and I say, "What do you got?" And he says it again. And I know it's that. But we can move away from each other as long as we can hear each other, as long as we can got that some type of communication to where we can, I can at least hear him. One of the things is that you've got to be able to, now it's based on experience as well. Like Spencer earlier, I couldn't let Spencer just take off on his own because he was fresh out of the academy. Whereas another guy, with a lot of experience and stuff, I could let him go freely because I know that his search pattern is going to bring him right back to me. He's going to be on the left-hand side. We're going down the hallway. I'm hitting everything on the right-hand side based on the house, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. And the way they would tell with where I was at was because I never carried my Halligan into a bedroom. I would stop, and people say, you have to have your Halligan, your tool in your hand at all times. I'm in a 1,500 square foot ranch. I don't need to have it in my hand at all times because I don't need to be fixated on my Halligan. So what I do is I'd put my forks into the room, my adz and pike at the door jamb, and I'd go in the room, and I don't have to be fixated on my Halligan. This way I'm searching. I can really be fast on my search and move around. I'm not with this Halligan trying to hold on to it. So I'm moving around this room, this master bedroom, and I'm searching real quick, and I can be really fast because I don't have this Halligan. And I come to this door, and guess what? I find another door. Well, I know it's not my door I came in because there's no Halligan at the door jamb. So guess what? It's a walk-in closet. So I move into it real quick, and it's a master bathroom or whatever. And I come out and I find my Halligan, and I move on to the next door, next room, and I close that door and I take my Halligan. Or if that guy comes, he says, "Oh, Cap's in this room." You know why? He sees my Halligan, finds my Halligan, moves on to the next one. That's a form of communication and all that kind of stuff. And I throw that in there because that is a way for them to see where I'm at. It's a way of, or whatever. A split search based on the firefighter survey is the fastest, and that's where most people were found, that type of search. So we would break away from each other, but we would never go to another floor, and we would be close enough to where if we could hear somebody make that sound of victim. If you hear that, move to their voice because they're going to need help.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I love the fact that you said it. You said we stay in visual, touch, or
Voice,
at
vision,
both.
touch, radio does not count.
Radio doesn't count. I love that because, like you said, you hear the repeat.
Yeah.
Von Brown wants to know, Captain Ashley, did Firefighter Rescue Survey ever have any influence on any of your decision-making skills or tactics?
Yes, it did. Before that, we always were looking in bedrooms, and we were always looking at in places like that because it's just what we did. But before that, and it did on my search. It absolutely did because of the split search. We used to kind of stay a little bit closer. But when I saw how important that split search was of breaking off a little bit farther, absolutely. The person earlier, Brandon Ledford, Brandon Ledford was on my truck. Brandon used to break off real far from me, and I'd break off real far from him. But we would keep in touch with one another. The firefighter rescue survey absolutely changed the way that I searched.
Love it.
And it absolutely would make me on my VES absolutely be more aggressive with my VES, bar none.
There you go. Speaking of Brandon Ledford, he says, Cap, if you don't mind the questions, they're still coming. So, Cap, I'm going to do this one at least. Captain, explain the importance of using searching with the can, or at least bringing it along.
Oh, yeah. So the can is a boat anchor if you don't fill it up right. That is all it is. So it's got to be filled up correctly. So if it's filled up correctly, you're going to have 50 feet of water for 50 seconds. And it is absolutely positively worth it, because I have put 2 rooms of fire out with one before that were side by side, 2 bedrooms. And I didn't put them out completely. It was to knock them down completely to where 1 3/4 inch could come and mop them up. So to carry them, some people carry them over their shoulder. Some people put it around their leg, around their thigh, and they drag it. It's whatever you want to do, as long as you've got that pistol on top, protected where you're not wasting your water when you bump it around. Now, I don't care how you carry it as long as you bring it, because it can protect you. It can protect somebody while they're making a grab. But the biggest thing is to knock the fire down, confine it, let the engine know where it's at, and we can put a door, we can put something else in front of it, close the door or whatever. But it has to be brought when you're doing a search. If you've got that, if you have the can, bring the can. If you've got it on the truck and you don't bring it, you're doing a search, you're going to wish you did when you get in those positions. Why would you not bring a tool that is put on your truck and you don't bring it? It is 29 pounds. And that's another thing. In order for you to know how much water that is truly, filled correctly, one thing is to look and see if it's got 100 PSI of water in it. But to know if it's got the correct amount of water and it's done correctly, it's 29 pounds. That's another thing to think of. So 29 pounds, some people don't want to drag that along, but 29 pounds, you have to practice carrying that. You have to practice dragging that. You have to practice moving that. And you know what? If you've expelled it inside and you got to move away from the fire, leave it. Leave it. It doesn't matter. Okay. Can you set it in the corner while you're doing a search and come back to it? Sure. Can you leave it out on a landing while you're doing something? Sure. You don't have to drag it everywhere. You can stage it somewhere. Okay. But take it with you, because it is an important tool. If you're not, you're setting yourself up for failure.
There you go. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful scrap so far, with beautiful questions from the audience. See if there's any. I want to look. I like this one. Man, there's a lot I like, and I still want to get to. So we'll get to some of them. Arrogance and how it is killing the fire service.
Oh my God.
I like this statement, so I want to hear you elaborate.
So the thing about the arrogance is that I think some guys get too big. They get too big. Here I am talking because I think you can tell I'm passionate about this job after 38 years. And I don't, it's just some guys are just too much. And some of the stuff they say is too much. And I know that on my Truckee Talk page, I've got 35,000 people. I've got people that I've got 5,000 people on my Facebook page. I've got people that constantly, every day I get up, my messenger is full of people. I've got emails, I've got this and that. And I know that there are people who listen, who are listening to everything I say. And it dawned on me one day when I was at FDIC, because I started teaching on the road about probably almost 18 years ago. And it dawned on me one day that somebody is listening to me when a guy at FDIC wanted to have his picture made with me. And it was really awkward for me, because I'm like, I'm nobody. I'm just a country boy from the hills that likes to go to fires. That's all I am. I'm a country boy from Kentucky that loves to go to fires. That's all I am. But I realized that somebody's listening to me. So that was important to me. So I have to watch what I say, but I'm still opinionated in what I say, because what I think I have to say is important. But I'm also humble about it, because I want somebody to understand what I'm saying is important, that it's a learning thing. I don't want you to get hurt. I want you to have a phenomenal career, volunteer, paid, or whatever. But I don't want you to do anything that's going to mess something up. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to do the things wrong, paid or whatever. We're all in this together. But I think some guys just take it too far. This is a blue collar job, and people listen to what we have to say. And sometimes we say too much, and sometimes we just are out there. I can't do it. The arrogance is too much. We are the fire service. We are not, it's not, we're not rock stars. We do what we do, and we say what we say, but sometimes let's not forget where we came from. That's my thing is I'll tell you, I worked behind the scenes at FDIC for many, many years because I went to Eastern Kentucky University, and they worked behind the scenes. And when I was reading Fire Engineering magazine, there was so many icons that I wanted to see, that I read about for years, and I wanted to see and meet. And I got to meet them. I got to see them. I got to shake their hand. And I got to ask them questions. And there's some I fell in love with that I was just like, they were my mentors. And there's some that I met that I'm like, you're an asshole. You're not who I thought you were. And then there's some that I met that I thought, wow. And then there was some I met that people would be just like, walk up to them and just shake their hands and this and that. And then they walk away. And as soon as they walked away, they motherfucked them. And I'm like, that is so wrong. This is not what we're about. I want no part of this. I want no part of that. I want no part of that arrogance right there. I don't want that. I don't want that. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, that type of arrogance, and that has to stop. I don't want any part of that. And I've lost friendships over that because of, sometimes I've called it out, and I don't mind to call it out because I'll stand my ground on it because of who I am. My mother told me, I had a chief one time getting my ass, and I told him, I said, because I grew up with my dad died when I was a month old, and my mother raised three of us in a poor family. And my mother told me to always say something, even if your voice trembled. And I always stood up for everything. And I always said something if it needed to be said. And I've had to stand up and say things sometimes. And I always will. And I did. And I've lost friends because I'm like, it's not right. And so it is what it is. I am who I am. Even though I'm outspoken, I call it for what I think it is. And I've lost friends. There's people that don't like me, but the people that don't like me, I'll still do anything for, because we all have haters. I even had haters on my own department. I still have haters on my department. We all had haters on our department, and they don't like it because they're jealous. And it's not jealousy because of what I'm doing or anything like that. Most of the people who hate me never worked with me, or never even worked in the same house or the same firehouse or the same company or the same shift or anything like that. It was just word of mouth. The arrogancy I'm talking about is just, sometimes people are, it's just a show of, I just don't like it. I just don't care for it. And it's in every state I go to, and it's amongst firefighters, it's amongst chiefs, it's amongst instructors, it's amongst the people in the sales industry. It's everywhere. And it's just like the politics that go along with it, the cliques that go along with it. I'm not about it. I'm about being on this, talking to the people that are on this show, talking fire, for everybody to, when we pull up and the air brake goes off and the lines hit the ground and the glass breaks and the guys roll into those houses to save those people or save the property. That's where it all is. That's what it's all about. And I go on to say this. We can even get it. This is another thing about this, the arrogancy of it. We are the only profession in the world, that is not racist or judgmental. Because when I get off the truck, I put my mask on and I disappear into that smoke. I don't care what kind of money you have. I don't care what color you are. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what kind of crimes or anything you've committed. I don't care anything about that. I'm coming after you as a human being and I'm pulling you out of that house. The only profession, because any other profession, they have a second to make a decision on about who you are or anything like that. This profession, when I grab you and drag you and pull you outside, I don't care. You're a human. That's all that matters.
You gotta write down the timestamp, bro. Good finish. Good finish. That's a great way to wrap up the topics and lead us into one of the favorite things I love to ask is book or books that you think firefighters should be reading. Doesn't have to be firefighting books. It can be, but what do you think firefighters should be reading? I love asking this question.
I think any self-help book for a man or a woman to help them with PTSD, anything like that, because I have PTSD, because I've made some really bad runs in my career. One of the things that guys used to say for years was, if you want to make bad runs, ride with that guy right there. If you want to see bad shit, ride with that guy right there. Because it was always me, because it is what it is. Anything that will help you get your life straight, anything that will help you make your family life better and make you see that you got to make time for your family. I will tell you right now, I wish I had spent more time with my family than I did with my fire service, because I spent more time with the fire service because I thought it was more important. I have a great relationship with my family now, but looking back on it, I should have had a better relationship with my family. And the last one is probably a book that I enjoyed because of just the guy took himself from a shit bag and made something out of him. He catches hell and stuff, but it was David Goggins' You Can't Hurt Me.
No, I love the book.
I like the title because of just coming from where I'm from, and people told me I could never come out of this shithole, Eastern Kentucky, and do anything and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, you can't hurt me. I don't let words hurt me from people or anything like that, because everything I've ever got, I've got on my own. Everything I've ever done, I've done on my own. Nobody's, it's all been self, and that's what's made me proud about it. And it is what it is. And I'd gladly help anybody in the fire service, the haters or anybody. And I love the haters. And there's guys that I'd still do anything for because I still love them, So anything that helps somebody, I just read it, because leaders are readers.
There you go. There you go. Well, we have a thing we do. You're probably very aware. It's called the 5 Questions for Firefighters. It's been around for a while. And I ask you the questions. There are no correct answers. They're just your opinions. And then I score the questions with the help of the audience.
Okay.
This is the 3rd iteration. It's actually version 3.3. So basically, are you ready, Arthur Ashley, for the next 5 Questions for Firefighters, version 3.3?
Go.
What is the skill that has carried you through your fire service career?
The ability to make decisions under pressure and be able to put things where they need to go in shitty situations and make it work.
Decisiveness under pressure. Absolutely love it. That's one of my core values. Actually, is decisiveness. Absolutely love it. Hearts and hundreds are flying by. Alan says, "I'm betting he gets max points on these." The hundreds are flying. There you go. There you go. Absolutely great lead off. Number 1, letting the audience catch up. Number 2, this is one of my favorite questions. I really do love this question. It's one of my hardest ones to answer in my own mind, but it's Jobtown. It's time. You got to think of the scene from Backdraft when McCaffrey's jumping on the rig because he's late, and they're rolling to the job, and the driver, the engineer, slaps that cassette deck, slaps that tape in. They start playing that song. What song are you playing while you're en route to Jobtown?
Oh, AC/DC, Shake a Leg.
Shake a Leg. Got it. We've had ACDC before, I believe, pretty confidently. That's the first time we've had Shake a Leg.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there you go.
Guys, listen to it and you'll see what I mean.
Okay. Okay. They already, yeah. Sam says, can't go wrong with ACDC. 3 thumbs up from Wessels and a max points from Brandon Ledford. So there you go. Love it with 2 rocker horns from Rob Fisher. Number 3, what is your favorite fire service tradition?
Oh, without a doubt, Lexington Fire Department. When the recruits come online and they serve their potato soup at midnight, and they invite all the retirees and the companies on duty to come eat potato soup. And it was started back in the 30s and 40s, and they served potato soup. The Irish firefighters would make the potato soup, and it's always been a tradition. They would serve it at midnight. Every probationary firefighter that's come on their shift would serve it at midnight to all the firefighters.
Now I've heard a little bit of it, but isn't there also a tradition where they're trying to be messed with the entire time they're making the potato soup?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They try to put food coloring in it and everything like that. And they try to put food coloring in the milk and the cornbread and everything. And that's how I got my middle finger broke in a window. And I said, before I went back in the firehouse, I said, they're not going to know that they broke my finger. And I reset my finger before I came back in, and I had tears in my eyes, but I never let them know it.
Nice. Awesome. And I love the fact that it's been around almost 100 years now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Absolutely max points. 3 for 3. Easy so far. This one is on the clock. We had to put it on the clock because there's just, it's not a fair question, first of all, but you get to put 4 people on your Mount Rushmore of the fire service for whatever reason. Your opinion only. Got the clock up there, and go.
Lombardo, Presler, Gustin, Bob Morse.
Woo. That is a powerful, powerful force of 4, brother. Yeah, Lombardo, Presler, Gustin, Morris. Yeah, it's hard to knock, man. I don't know what the time was. Where'd we come in at? They got to be close to a record. It's pretty quick. He did a little thing in 17 seconds. It's got to be close to a record. Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, they were loaded and ready, but excellent. It's hard to argue with that Mount Rushmore at all. Easy max points. Final question. It's always interesting to ask a guy known for being a truck guy this question, but I still love to ask it. Heavy fire and searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on the VES?
First in VES all the way. I'm going after him.
I would have been surprised if it was different, but you never know. You have to ask. You never know.
I'm going after him. I'm coming for him.
Right. I love when you said it earlier. The only thing separating you is that pane of glass.
Absolutely.
That's such a beautiful way of looking at it. And that officially makes it 5 for 5 max points. Easy to say that. 100% max points. And that officially makes it 259 scraps in the books. My brother, thank you for sharing your evening with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been fun. I was able to, that's been good. I was able to put some stuff out there.
Oh, you got some good tirades going. It was good. If someone wants to get a hold of you, if someone wants to reach out to you for your training company, your upcoming book, how to get in touch with you to teach a class, what's the best way to do so?
So the best way to get in touch with me is my phone number is 606-481-5257. If I don't answer, it's usually because I'm busy, and just leave me a message. Or you could get me on my email is ashes. Imagine that, ashes752@hotmail.com. Or you can leave me a message on Facebook under Arthur Ashley.
There you go.
Yep. I will always answer you. It may be a little bit because there's a lot of people that reach out and stuff. I've always got somebody, like today I woke up to like a dozen things and stuff. And like the new business of Street Smart Tactics is just July 1st is when it started, but I hadn't advertised because we're booked up until January already. So we're looking to start 2025. So if anybody wants any, and we're it's not just truck work. We're everything. We got a cadre of 35 guys from all over the United States. So, and they're all vetted, and and it says Street Smart Tactics. So they're all experienced as well. So it's experience driven, street proven.
Love it. Love it, man. And it'll speak for itself as it stays booked up because if it's
Yeah,
not good, it doesn't stay booked up. Plain
right.
and simple. Plain and simple. The market speaks. That's it. Go to housekeeping here, firehousevigilance.com. Go to firehousevigilance.com. There you can join Patreon and become a member. The Vigilantes, it's an amazing group. One of the things the Vigilantes is doing right now, Andrew Johnson is heating up. He was in here. I don't know if he's still in the chat in the audience, but Andrew Johnson is heading up. He is the drill master. He is collecting the drills that we are going to put in the appendix of the Book of Search. So he's collecting those drills up. So reach out to him, get in touch with him if you want to be a part of that process. He is the one who is coordinating, filling out those templates for all those drills we're going to try and put as the appendix for the Book of Search. So I'm excited about that. He's working on that while I continue to get the book ready to go out there. And remember, the Book of Search, it's going to be a PDF that is free to the entire fire service. I want everybody to share it as much as possible, but it's also going to be a physical book that you can purchase, and all of the purchase, every bit of the price of the book is going to go to Firefighter Rescue Survey. So it's free for the fire service, but if you want to support it and have, or if you want a physical copy of the book, because I'm working hard to make the book badass. Paul Combs is doing the cover art. Amber Christian's doing the interior illustrations. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, enough hype about that. Let's get to next week. A week from tonight, it is episode 260, and the whole mystery of what is going on with 260, you find out 1 week from today. Phil Jose is the guest. Never before happened on the scrap. I like to say that as often as possible. Never before happened, but it's never before happened on the scrap, and I'm excited to see what you think next week when we unveil it. 2024 is continuing style. Phil Jose, Brett, I don't want to mispronounce names. Let me pull up my notes here real quick to make sure I got my names right. Maybe. All right. It's continuing style. Andrew Johnson working on that. I said that. Book of Search said that. All right. After party. Arthur has agreed to come to the after party. He's agreed to be roasted by the Vigilantes. Sam should be sending out the invite to that. So look for it. I will send an invite to Arthur and we will have fun. Audience, thank you for tuning in tonight. You make the scrap magical. It doesn't exist without you. You ask the best questions. You send the soft tosses. You send the hard curves, and the guest tonight absolutely crushed each and every one of them. Thank you, Arthur.
Yep. Thank
Everybody,
you.
remember, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tones stay silent unless it is burning. Everybody, stay safe out there.